I'm telling you, if you're obese and you feel lost, you might just have been wasting your talents and didn't know it. I was like, this whole time you're telling me I had special powers and I let them destroy me just because I didn't know how to harness them.
So I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream at the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey.
Hello my lovely crew members, newcomers, but most importantly my beloved OGs. Welcome to another yapping session. As always, I'm your host Lucy, aka Lucifer, and I'm a former obese girl turned bodybuilder. In today's video, I want to talk a bit about a struggle many obese people face, although really it might just be a blessing in disguise, and even an advantage for bodybuilding. Before we get into it though, please hit the subscribe button. Our crew is still growing and we could absolutely need another capable and strong crew member such as yourself. We would certainly count ourselves lucky to have you on board. Now, without any further ado, let me tell you about how obese people might just be bodybuilders in disguise. You might be extremely skeptical at what I'm proposing here, and rightfully so. Isn't obesity a symptom of the inability to control one's eating? A complete lack of discipline? The very thing mandatory for and at the core of bodybuilding? Well, hear me out. I promise it's gonna make sense, at least somewhat. What I'm about to describe is rooted in my own personal experience, and I'm certainly not speaking for all obese people, nor do I think that this applies to absolutely everyone. However, I think that it does to many of you. So if you're an obese person watching this right now, and you feel absolutely cursed with your affliction, keep watching. This video is for you. When I was obese, it was in no small parts to my inability to get full, as in feel full. I can eat until my stomach is physically at capacity and it feels like I might actually damage it. I get a fullness sensation maybe once a year if I'm lucky. I think the last time was about 2-3 years ago, and I cried because I had forgotten that getting full comes with a temperature change. It feels warm and cozy in your stomach, and I had completely forgotten about that, and it was it was an experience. So how come some of us just have a body that never tells us to put the fork down? Our fullness and hunger cues are controlled by hormones called leptin and ghrelin. If you, for one reason or another, don't produce one of these as much or too much, you might always feel hungry, or you might get full super quick or not at all. Among other things, this can be caused by genetics or by having misused ultra-processed foods for far too long. But mind you, your genetics don't make you fat. It's still the overeating, and only the overeating, that does that, whether or not the overeating is caused by wacky hunger signals. For me, I low-key always want to eat, and as said, I never get full. For the longest time, this felt like a curse. I felt so helpless and it felt so incredibly unfair. Why can some people eat whatever they want and stay thin, be happy, because apparently they don't want to nor could eat tens of thousands of calories? Meanwhile, for me, it's a daily struggle. It felt like I would never be happy or satisfied. It was frustrating beyond belief. Little did I know that my greatest weakness would turn out to be my biggest strength, and something that would make dieting for bodybuilding so much easier. But how can that be possible, you may ask? Good question. But first, let me address something about mindset real quick that I think is relevant. I was only able to beat my maladaptive food intake behaviors once I stopped focusing on that it should be different, how extremely unfair it is that I have to carry that cross, and instead focus on actually carrying the damn cross. We all have things to deal with. As far as messed up hunger cues goes, there are far worse physical afflictions I could have spawned in with, let's be real. You can only play with the cards you've been dealt, so start playing. And accepting that the world just isn't fair really goes a long way too. Accepting that is something I struggled with a lot. It might sound logical to you and like just a fact of life, but to me, and I assume others, it's something that can really get you stuck. Like, why do I have to work 10 times as hard as someone else for the same thing? Why do I have to feel hungry every single day when there are some people who never are? It isn't fair. But that mindset stops you from trying. And I mean really, really trying. It stops you from working hard. Because it shouldn't matter. You are not someone else. You are you. And your challenges and difficulties are yours to overcome. They are a chance to win and become more, to become better. And they're a unique chance that not everyone has. If something is easy and hasn't had to be earned, it has far less value. When there is someone who has had to fight for years to get back their ability to walk, despite people telling them that they would never be able to, then they will hold that rather basic ability like a trophy, like an achievement. I've learned that a lot of things in life are dependent on how you yourself frame them. Our reality is really built right up here in our minds. How you look at things will ultimately determine whether you can tackle a situation with vigor or futility in mind. If you convince yourself that you have no chance, then you don't. To do something, you have to believe that it's possible first. Otherwise, you're completely incapable of even giving it a good shot. Why is this important? If you're hungry anyway, no matter how much you eat, and you can accept that and get over it, you now not only have the ability to diet yourself out of obesity, you're also gonna have a much easier time in a bodybuilding prep than people who rarely ever experience hunger in their day-to-day normal life. Eat 20 donuts, you're hungry. Eat only a small piece of chicken breast with some rice, you're also hungry. Once you accept that you don't have to eat all the time and that you might just be a little hungry and a little bit uncomfortable, maybe forever, then you are free. Again, there are far worse fates, and this one at least is extremely useful in the right setting. Dieting yourself out of obesity with that mindset is easier, because hey, you're gonna be hungry anyway, whether you eat the 2 pizzas or you don't. Then it really just becomes about the addiction and the withdrawal part of the situation, on which I did another video already, and I'm gonna link that in the description if you're interested. And now on to why this is so overpowered in relation to bodybuilding. You are now playing dieting on easy mode, well, assuming you have dieted yourself out of obesity and made it through withdrawal. Speaking from experience, dieting in a bodybuilding prep is piss easy in comparison to dieting yourself out of obesity and beating that withdrawal. But anyway, besides the point, the real power is that now, since you're always hungry anyway, a calorie deficit really can't affect you. So once you've practiced carrying your cross, mastering your hunger, you can turn it into a weapon. Congratulations, you won. Any normal person, like the people I wished I was like for so long, they will struggle trying to cut weight. The hunger they feel in a deficit is such a big difference from their normal life. For me, I feel just like I do every other day. Dieting in prep and eating just enough to sustain a toddler, or bulking and eating almost 4,000 calories every day plus cheat meals on the weekends, from a hunger perspective, it's the exact same to me. You see bodybuilders struggle mentally because of their hunger during a prep, but couldn't be me. If it sounds familiar to you to have a baseline that's just like permanently a little bit hungry, then imagine it as if these people just get a taste of what any day feels like to us. You and me, we got climatized to this.
Oh, you think
Hunger.
is your ally? You merely adopted the...
Hunger.
I was born in it, molded by it.
The only thing people like me get faced by in prep are the physical ramifications of starvation. The brain fog, the not being able to sit down properly, the fatigue, that sort of thing. But hunger itself? Nah. I'm telling you, I was amazed when I realized I had a superpower. I was like, this whole time, you're telling me I had special powers and I let them destroy me just because I didn't know how to harness them. Now I am thankful for my condition. I wear it with pride. I know some people take GLP-1s and whatnot, but I have worked so hard to wield my kind of permanent little bit hungry state as a weapon. Nobody's going to take that from me. Dieting on the other side of food addiction for obese people who never get full like me really is easy as pie. This goes beyond prep as well. If your coach tells you to eat 4,000 calories of just chicken and rice, other petite women, they might cry, they might force feed themselves, they might struggle not to throw up. You and me, we're in our element. Easy life. I can body that before noon. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. I'm telling you, if you're obese and you feel lost, you might just have been wasting your talents and didn't know it. As an extra benefit, using your powers for bodybuilding grants you a pretty damn awesome physique, and you get to eat a lot more food than other people of your height would ever get to eat. That brings me to the next point. The food you can eat without getting fat. Needless to say, we like to eat food. But with our hunger, we would still be inclined to eat far too much and eat ourselves into excess body fat, even on chicken, rice, steak, avocado, healthy foods. With bodybuilding, and once you have built large amounts of muscle, you can eat absolutely absurd amounts of food and still be at a healthy body fat percentage, at least in the off season. It is the ultimate life hack to have your cake and eat it too. Well, again, as said, once you have built increasingly more and more muscle mass to actually burn all of those calories, but it is absolutely something that you can do. Through my bodybuilding journey, I'm progressively, obviously, eating more and more and more in the off season while still staying at a reasonable body fat percentage. So yeah, food is perpetually going up, unless I'm cutting for a show. I'm 164 or 5'4" in height, and I have eaten anywhere between 2,700 and 3,800 something plus cheat meals in my off seasons. That is literally kilos of food and whole food, especially if you employ volume eating hacks on top of that. It is literally living the dream. Speaking for myself, bodybuilding is the path that allowed a frustrated obese girl to find happiness, fulfillment with her food, life, and her body. Who wouldn't want to look like a Dragon Ball character if it comes at the steep cost of eating a lot of food and getting progressively stronger? Truly, I don't understand how there are millions of people who don't have more fun with controlling what their body looks like and locking in their diet in a productive manner. I cannot think of anything more rewarding. I want to encourage anyone watching to take the plunge and get through the hard part of embracing your struggle and learn to eat productively regardless of what your hunger cues may be shouting at you. Once you have mastered that, there is a beautiful and amazing world out there for which you are uniquely suited to succeed in. You have inherent potential, and I would hate to see you waste it. Bodybuilding needs you, and let's be real, you could use a little bit of bodybuilding. Some of you may say that being a bodybuilder is an insane or unrealistic goal to have for an obese person who is still actively struggling with maladaptive eating behaviors. To that I say wrong. I was in a terrible place when I saw a bodybuilder on my screen explain that you can control what you look like and you can control that you perform better. And that finally helped me get my head out of my ass for good. The right goal is the goal that gets you excited, that gets you going, that gets you to believe in yourself. To me, there is nothing more worthy or inspiring than the pursuit of bodybuilding, especially from the perspective of a self-hating, overweight, undisciplined slob. Being a bodybuilder, that is everything I aspire to. Bodybuilding is the cure to a lack of discipline. Bodybuilding is the cure to an out-of-control weight. And unless you give yourself crippling body dysmorphia along the way, it might just help you respect yourself and your physique a little more. Granted, there are many mental pitfalls, and there are people who have used bodybuilding as a way to enable bad coping mechanisms, but that's a topic for another day. Generally speaking, I believe that everyone could benefit from just a little bit of bodybuilding in their lives. It's the most beautiful thing. Then again, that opinion is probably a little bit biased because from where I'm sitting right now, it does look like that to me. But enough of my point of view. How about you? Have you ever considered that your insatiable hunger might just be a real-life superpower? Are you someone who can't relate at all and you struggle to put any food down? Or do you just think what I said is a whole bunch of nonsense? Please, let me know in the comments below. And with that, another yapping session comes to an end. The video for the members will also go up this weekend. And if you would like to directly contribute to the size of my bicep and support the channel, then get yourself a membership and become a crew member. There is some extra content in it for you as well. For now, I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I want to present to you the very first of our crew members who are already on board. Until next time, bye bye!